DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's AMA with DeFi Kingdoms. Lovely to see you all again. Thank you, everybody who is tuning in live, as well as everybody who will watch this later, and those who will read the transcript as well. We're excited to be here today, and as is our tradition, going to hit some updates and then roll into questions. First and foremost, Winston, how are you doing today?
Hey, Bolon, I'm great. Thanks for asking. How are you? You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited. Some people have been saying that we, dropped some alpha last night, but I don't know. I must have missed it. But in the meantime, who are you battling today?
Well, today's kind of a big one. Today I'm fighting Cool. He's agreed to some very ridiculous terms. He cheated a touch, but I'm gonna allow it. It's fine. But he cheated a little bit, but it's gonna be all right. Yeah, so we're gonna do that here in about 7 minutes. So make sure that you sponsor and vote for those. Right after this, I'll be doing the sponsor rolly thing. So that should be up already. You can just put that in the background and have it ready to go. Yeah, I don't know. I think I got a good chance against Cool this week. Despite his cheating, I think I still might be able to pull out a win. I'm a little more. I mean, I'm not going to say anything yet. I don't want to sway people's opinion on how they voted or whatever. So, looking forward to it. Thanks, Cool. I guess he is not going to bullish us. So I've got a message, a very short message. You should add some more to that, buddy. You got like 50. You got 52 minutes to tighten that up. So put some more in there, and I'll read that message later. So looking forward to it. Thanks, Cool.
Awesome. Looking forward to those fights. All of chat seems to be in agreement that everyone needs a cheeseburger right now. I fully support that. Second update, just a quick one. As a reminder, we will be at ETH Denver next week. Myself, Winston, Dreamer, Sunbear, Dr. Zipper, and Workhorse will all be there. So really looking forward to that. It should be a great time. Looking forward to checking out the game arcade, which we're going to be in every day. Sorry, I can't remember words or how English works at the moment, but it should be really cool. If you're going to be there, if you're going to be in the area, please reach out, let us know. We would love to see you, love to meet you, hang out with you, get you some merch. So that should be a really good time. On that note, we will not have our normal AMA next week because a lot of us are going to be at ETH Denver. However, we're probably going to do something. So we're figuring out the details right now. We'll probably be, I'm planning on doing several content things from ETH Denver to make it feel like you're there, even if you're not. But we'll probably do some kind of stream or something. So stay tuned for details on that. It should be a lot of fun. I don't know where ETH Denver is. I think it might be in Seattle, but not sure. But yeah, should be a good time. If you're going to be there, make sure you reach out and come find us. Passing over to Hubert, I believe there's a couple things to talk about there.
Yeah. Hey guys. I'm doing great. Thanks, Bolon. And let's see. So it came to my attention that somebody noticed this. There was actually a bug that was discovered in the past couple weeks. I can't remember when exactly, but where the armors that have like kind of, I guess all the Rockbach armors that drop, they do have variable reward, like variable bonuses on them. And there was a bug that was preventing the first bonus from having any variability on it up until we found that and fixed that. Thanks to Germ Curry, who has been collecting all this data, and kind of was a helpful tool to see that he had marked the first bonuses as all non-variable. And so anyway, we fixed that, and somebody just got, I think, a Bach Knight mail that had a different than what people have been seeing so far bonus on its first bonus. Just mentioning that all of the bonuses were meant to be variable on the first one. And so it's unfortunately up until now, that just has not been the case. So now some of those armors are going to come out even better than they were before. Just wanted to note that so that you guys are aware, and I think we'll make a note of that as well in our game updates channel. So yeah, so that was the first thing. The second thing was that there was a big alpha drop yesterday. We have announced our tournaments, which are going to be coming out next week. So it's been a ton of work by pretty much everyone on the team. We've had a lot of things we've had to do just to get the whole thing designed, to kind of plan out how it will all work, what the rewards would be. Bolon was really instrumental in a lot of this. He took the lead on a lot of these things, which he normally doesn't do, and I very much appreciate him for everything he did there. And just really excited to finally get to this point. We have we have had PvP in place, for the past several months, but that was really just kind of the building blocks to get us to this, to get us to tournaments, to get us to like really being able to have organized like esports type events where it's very competitive. There's a lot on the line, and there's I think there could be with big tournament series, it kind of can become a story of like, these players, and then suddenly this person came out of the blue and started winning, and started becoming the favorite, and all the things that can happen when you have a big tournament series. I'm just really looking forward to all of that, and seeing how everyone performs, and also we have so many different options that we can do with like the settings for each tournament. Right now we have like for our daily ones, we have a bunch of different settings, plus like level caps of like level 6 and 10 and 15 and 20. We'll see how all those goes. We want to hear feedback from you guys. So if you have suggestions for any types that we haven't done, we can consider those. If you talk about which ones you like and which ones you dislike, we can adjust the list to have more of some things and less of the other things, or introduce things that we haven't done yet as well. So it's kind of going to be a little bit of an experiment, just because it's such a big system. We can't know everything off the bat. So we're just gonna, I think we have a good initial path, and we're going to just refine it as we go. I hope you guys are getting ready. We'll have, I think, more details soon on like what specifically are going to be the requirements for the initial tournaments in the coming days. We're just trying to like kind of finishing everything up on that right now. So I don't know. Anyone else want to jump in on that topic?
I'll say first off, I'm sorry I didn't ask you how you were, but outside of that, shout out to Ebla for finding that armor. Also, I saw you in Discord. I'm watching. But yeah, tournaments, super excited. If you've not checked it out yet, I did drop the link to the tweet in chat. That tweet has the link to the Medium article, which has all of the details. Yes, I'm going to force you to go to Twitter. Please like and retweet that post while you're at it. But really excited for this. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. There's a lot of variability in these tournaments. It's going to be really cool to watch people as they progress up the ladder and move from the daily to the weekly to the monthly. The All-Star tournament itself, I mean, obviously I'm wildly excited for that, because I think it's going to be an absolute blast to bring all of these players together and just really showcase the best of the best in DeFi Kingdoms combat. So really excited for it. To Hubert's point, like, this is very much a data gathering and adjusting process as we go. So if there are tournaments that people aren't feeling great about, then we probably won't run that style of tournament anymore. And that's why we built so much variability, so that we can customize and adjust. What that also means is we are not going to put out all 6 months of the dailies at one time, because we want to be able to adjust it. So we'll be releasing them in batches. y'all will have notice of what's coming next. But yeah, just really excited for tournaments. I'm excited for it to be live next week and get this like next level of competitive play going. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm super excited. Anybody else want to add anything on tournaments? You're still muted. There you go.
Yay. I shall add on tournaments. I don't want to blab too much because you'll probably come throughout the AMA and at the end. But man, it's been cool to see people excited on Twitter with what we have planned. I'll second the shout out to Bolon. The tokenomics committee had this topic multiple weeks in a row, and in between each, he did a ton of work and stayed synced with many on the team, and really paying attention to what all you guys are saying in Discord. So if you say something and you think, oh, I wonder if Bolon sees this, he does. He sees all of it and he relays it. I think we have a cool plan, guys. We got daily tournaments that are fun. They'll change often. We'll be getting feedback on what you guys like. They'll be incentivized in different ways, not only for those playing, but for those watching and spectating and streaming and creating content. And that all gets bigger and bigger and bigger with not only like cash prizes, but and I need to be careful on what we've said or haven't said. So please get me, shush me if you need to. But like on the related gear and other things, man, it's going to be cool. Not only in the things that we can incentivize, but the private matches that we've been seeing now for, I guess, almost 6 months, they kind of shift over to daily tournaments that we're going to see in really fun ways. And when we say fun, what I mean by that is the dailies are really meant to cater to those that just want to have fun. You don't have to have the best heroes and understand everything if what we're customizing allows for either a lower skill cap or a unique strategy nobody's tried because it's removing a certain key thing like no archers, for example, or things related to like the Gold Rush tournament. I just want to acknowledge the excitement and say thank you. Last week we were talking about, hey, let's try to be active and share things. And now with this announcement, we're seeing more activity and more sharing. We're seeing YGG also getting in and some folks welcoming those new players with open arms. So excited to have them in on patrols, excited for tournaments coming, excited to demo it and have it be going live soon. And glad that people seem happy with the structure, keeping in mind we're going to be learning as we go. So be patient, but man, we got a cool plan and excited to see everybody in the Coliseum.
Thank you, Dreamer. On the tournament topic, if y'all have any questions you want to drop in chat, I will try to pull them as we go. I know there's one question that has been discussed in Discord and is submitted as a question that I will go ahead and throw out there and see what Hubert wants to say. Hubert, the gear that can be acquired from tournaments, anything you'd like to share about that?
Yeah, so I guess if you were watching what I was saying in Discord yesterday, you might have seen basically the same thing I'll say now, which is the gear. Like we do kind of have a limit to how far we can take the gear, because if it's so much better than everything else that exists in the game, then it's kind of like here's a free pass to just win everything once you get it. So we don't want that to be what it is, but we do want this gear to feel, like it was worth it. Basically everything is intended to be competitive with the best stuff that is out there right now. You look at what you can get from Rockbach and from the Boar Hunt, and even from patrols. Like there's, it should be on par, if not a little bit better than most of that stuff. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you were doing a level 20 tournament or like a level 6 tournament. The treasure chests are going to be the same, and they'll have the same options that are going to be in there. And we'll also have it also kind of work in the same way that our other equipment does. That there will be some variability in like their bonuses and whatnot. You'll open the chest, you'll get what you get, but you might have gotten a better sword out of it than like somebody else did, for example. And that's kind of the plan.
Nice. And for anybody who has not read the article, which if you haven't, shame on you, go read the article. But there's 9 different weapons and shields, as well as 3 different armors, and then there is also an accessory of which only 12 will exist. And then there's also some extra gear for the winner of the All-Star that will be very, very unique. So really excited for that. Excited to introduce more gear to the system, and just see it kind of become part of the meta. And it will impact the meta with new gear being available as well, which is really excited. Only 12 for now. Only 12 from this 6-month series. We'll see what happens after that. But only 12 from this 6-month series. Let's see. A couple of questions that came in from chat. Will there be pink slip tourneys? Not currently planned, but maybe in the future. Are we demoing tournaments at ETH Denver? Yes, we are. We are not going to do an in-person tournament just because of the logistics, trying to figure that out at the last minute with ETH Denver and everything. It is something I really want to do in the future, but we need a pretty dedicated gaming setup to do like a fully in-person tournament. However, we are absolutely going to be demoing them. One thing that, I'll mention it is not yet confirmed, but we might add a couple more daily tournaments to a day or two of ETH Denver, just so that there are more tournaments running while we are demoing, because we're going to use you guys as our demos. So very much appreciated. But yeah, really looking forward to that as well. Especially with just the grand scheme of where the game is at now, our demos just keep getting more and more interactive, which is fantastic. So when somebody comes up at ETH Denver, we can put them into a demo patrol and they can actually play combat. We can show them tournaments. We can show them PvP. We can show them boss fights, and they can really get a lot more of the feel of the game than they have been able to previously, because we keep putting out more of the game. So I'm really excited for the doors that this opens, and being able to just like have a tournament playing basically the entire time that the tournament is on during our demos, so that people can see it. So really, really excited for that. I think it's going to be fun. Will team members be entering the dailies? I'll speak for myself and say probably, but I'm going to get crushed. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm going to lose. But I'm still going to do it. Winston and Sachet are our nominated champions to represent all of us. Which also, if anybody wants to add to any of these, feel free. I'm just snagging them. Ranges of time for the dailies, it is going to be pretty much all over the place to start. We really want to just add a lot of variety to the times and see what works. When are people available? What time of the day are these tournaments filling? So especially at first, the range is the full 24 hours of the day. We want to make sure that we cover time zones and give everybody an opportunity to participate, and really just hone in on the best times to run. So it's going to be very, very variable to start. And I would say that's another place that we could really use, the active feedback. So, if there's a tournament that you say, you know what, I'm going to stay up and play this tournament, but if it's this time all the time, that would be really hard for me. Like, give us that feedback. That's what we're here for. And it's very helpful. So we're going to be not only monitoring the tournaments filling, but also the feedback of, hey, I'm filling these tournaments, but I'm sacrificing for it, so that we can help find those best times. Yes, very varied variables. Cool. Anything anybody wants to add to any of that before we go into our pre-submitted questions for the week? All right. So we are going to kick off with some Hubert Hour. If we already know the next class to be implemented, why do we keep it a secret?
Yeah, good question. I think part of it is just we find it more fun to kind of keep things under wraps until it's closer. It also kind of prevents as much winning. While also I think there's a more kind of important marketing reason, not marketing, but like economy-based reason, um, where we don't want to like create undue speculation before things are ready. So if we told you what the next class is going to be and it's still like months out potentially, then we and especially like if something that happens that kind of delays it further, it just could kind of create market behavior that we don't want to be creating. So I think that's more than anything else the big motivational factor for us to kind of keep things under wrap. When we do get close to once we have the next class in testing, for example, I think then we'll start to be teasing it and things like that, and that is to that point of being ready. But with the tournament work we've been doing and everything that with our contract with Metis, we have had to focus heavily on just expanding our combat system in other ways, and so that has kind of delayed getting out other classes. But now that we're finishing up tournaments, I think we're going to turn our focus more towards trying to get just add more like playable classes and pet combat bonuses and things like that going. So that as tournaments are going, especially like it'll be really cool to see like a new class come in and how that impacts the whole meta of everything, and everything going forward from there. But yeah, as SBD mentioned in the chat, yeah, we do. I mean, we have one class's VFX basically done at this point, and then a second class is being worked on right now on the VFX side. So our art team is ahead. It's just a matter of getting it implemented and tested.
Very true, very true. And yeah, just another plug for the pet combat bonuses, because that's going to be big. There's a lot of variability and impact that can come from those. Let's see. So I'm going to try to summarize this question a bit, but essentially, with the price difference between Crystal and Jade, do we have concerns that Divine Essence could actually kick summoning up higher than the burn for Divine Essence and inadvertently result in an increase in population instead of a decrease? And have we considered options for if that were to happen?
So yeah, I think we're gonna need to like wait and see with that. I think there will be a lot of burning of heroes just for like people trying to get the multipliers. And you do get, if you're getting those multipliers, you'll get even more Divine Essence if they have more summons on them too. So, hopefully people are burning heroes that are worth more when they're doing that. But yeah, I mean, I do imagine people will also be summoning specifically to, get more Divine Essence, but it also kind of scales based on levels. So like level 1 heroes are not going to really produce as much as higher level heroes. So like it is kind of a bit of work to like get them to the level that you'd want to go to get the bonus, like to get the good amount of Divine Essence and whatnot. So I'm not sure. I think it's complex enough that it's really hard to say that will be an issue. Of course, we can, we will be monitoring how everything is received and how like if it is seeing that where it's just resulting in actually an increase in hero population rather than a decrease. We can consider ways to adjust things if we need to. If there's an issue with the just because of the price differential between the two portals, that's something we can discuss. I think we've discussed in the past not wanting to change the cost of summoning, and if we were to change something like that, it's something that I think would go to a community vote. So if there is desire, like strong desire in the community for us to do things like that, I think it'd be helpful to hear that. But it is something that if to do anything like that, we would need a vote. So yeah.
I'll just also throw out some wild speculation and heavily opinionated things, but it's not necessarily about trying to achieve a certain goal of like increase versus decrease. Like there's an equilibrium point in this, just like there is with like the world population. Like a lot of people are worried about overpopulation, etc. But scientists predict, I don't know, what is it, like 11 billion or something, is going to end up being sort of like that equilibrium point. And it's sort of the same thing with any system. There's going to be a point where it makes more sense to have more or less, and it will sort of reach equilibrium at some point. So it's more about ensuring that there's really cool ways to have new like utility for these things. And I think this is a really, really great one because it adds a ton of new utility for those. So I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Thank you for that as well, Fox. Winston, congratulations. That was fantastic timing. Congratulations on winning that first bout. That was a nail biter.
Thank you. Yeah, that one came right down to the wire. I sort of took a small risk. Not, I mean, now that I look back at it, what could I have done to protect my seer? But I was just kind of hoping maybe 330 health would be enough to survive his repeating shot, and it sure wasn't. It sure wasn't, Bolon. And so,
It was not.
no. And at that point, I was kind of like not nervous. I mean, I was nervous through the whole thing, but at that point, it was kind of like, all right, so this still, I thought maybe like it was over. Once I got that first archer down, I was like, okay, if I can just survive this next round with all three dudes, it's over. And naturally, that didn't happen. The other thing is I've decided that if I beat Okul twice today, that means it counts that I've beaten everyone else that he's beaten. So
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So a lot of pressure on the second game.
Yep. Well, for him, not for me. Everyone thinks I'm going to lose, so this is perfect. Actually,
I have to ask about the bigger risk you took real quick. You finished that game with an unused poisoned blade.
Yeah. Well, if there's not a good time in the beginning to use it, I feel like it's kind of a wasted. I didn't find a time to use it in the beginning, so it's for me. I think it's better to use a higher damage thing that is, that's gonna be more effective later in the fight, or save it for like a dude has 30 HP left, and I just want to like snipe him, in the back with somebody who maybe can't snipe or doesn't have mana or something.
Fair enough. All right. I just wanted to see if there's actually strategy.
There.
I wasn't sure if you were just, button mashing or if there was actual strategy. So just wanted to, dig a little deeper.
Both things can be true, Bolon. Both things can be true.
That is true.
We live in, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah, thanks everybody. Nice. What's that?
You have to strategically mash that button.
Yeah, there's you got to know when. That's what it's all about. Is know when to strategically mash. So yeah, I guess we're getting started in game 2. Good game, Okul. That could have gone either way, man. I think I got lucky a few times early on. So thanks. Good game. Let's see who can get this one.
Looking forward to it. All right. Jumping back to some questions. Can we get a hero population sign in the Isles? Potentially was the answer I was told. So we'll have to look at, where and the hookup and all that, but it is doable. So we can take a look at that. Going back to Hubert for a minute here. Any thoughts of doing a patrol mode where the player has a set of choices after each round, rather than the automatic heal and MP return of, heal, elemental damage, increase, attack, something along those lines to continue adding more roguelite elements to it?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. I could see that being implemented at some point, potentially. Maybe as we get, further along and have things like patrols in other places. But for now, I don't see that being something that we focus on. Just where we have other roguelike elements that we would like to get into patrols. We'll say that, and we're working on some of that right now. So I'm just going to keep focused on what we have planned for now. But I do like that idea in general, and it'll be something we'll consider when we're have more time available for doing something like that.
Nice. Any thoughts on a history tab for the meditation circle, portal, and pit?
I'm not sure if that was a me question. So they do, like, that data does exist on chain, and I think there are third-party sources out there that you can use that might be in our the castle right now, I believe, that you can look up some of that information. I think we could implement some of those things in game. It's just a matter of, like, do we want to prioritize doing that over other things? And in general, I think probably our answer is going to be no, just because the other things we have on our plate are pretty important. But there are tools out there right now, I believe, that you could use to look at most of those things. So, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah.
There are indeed, and you can find them at the Archivist in the castle. Shout out to those community devs who've built those tools as well. Will equipment always be common, rare, or mythic? Will there ever be uncommon or legendary?
So we'll see, but like kind of probably not. Like we were trying to simplify the equipment system a little bit, just so that as far as like design goes, it makes it a little bit easier to just have 3 tiers rather than 5. So that was kind of a decision we made a good while back, and I don't know that we're going to go back on it. It could happen, but it just kind of increases the complexity more than I think is necessary.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Any thoughts on revisiting the idea to sell bundles in the tavern, potentially exclusively on Metis, where you could have like a PvP ready bundle of heroes and equipment and pets and whatever else?
Is that also a me question? It feels like it doesn't have to be, but
We're going with it. You can take it off. Other people can add.
Okay. Yeah, I don't dislike the idea. It definitely is a lot harder to kind of build like filters for those kind of, like, for a big bundle type of package rather than like just searching for heroes, just searching for different things. Like if it's a big bundle, how do we filter that? How do we display that in a way where people can find the things they're looking for? Like that can be a pretty big chunk of work, just like dealing with filters and that sort of thing. So I think that has kind of been a reason why we haven't pulled that trigger. But with that said, I think it also does have a lot of benefits as well. And we did kind of even talk about this at some point, I think, when we were discussing Metis, just to like have people being able to have teams available that they could just get in and get everything they need just with one action rather than several. So I think we like the idea. It is kind of a complex one to implement fully in a like user-friendly way.
Nice. Does anybody want to add anything to that? All right. Yeah, I agree. It is a cool idea, but will be a chunk of work for sure. Let's see. Giving Hubert a break for a minute, we're going to jump over to Fox. Fox, have we been able to look at the inability to claim past dual season rank rewards without reaching the same rank in the new season?
Yeah, I've heard this one a couple times. I haven't been able to reproduce it, but I also admittedly haven't had a lot of time to look at it. So I'm going to put this on my list to take another look at this week, because it seems to me like it's not a contract issue. It's more of like something with the front end where it's just not showing the right buttons under the right situations, basically. So hopefully not a very complex thing to fix. But yeah, I'll add this on my list and see if we can get an update for that. Also, I was chatting with Avalanche people just now and kind of missed the last question that you were asking for the people to chime in on. What was it again?
Just the idea of being able to sell bundles, particularly on Metis, of like heroes, equipment, pets, potions, etc.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Hubert probably has the most info for that, and he already said his piece, so that's all. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the one about notifications because I do have something to say about that.
Gotcha. Not yet. Although, I mean, honestly, if you want to, you can go ahead and here, let me where is that question? Any updates on when we might get some kind of notification system on rewards, heroes, pet or hero and pet sales, etc.? Go ahead, Fox.
Okay, yeah, thanks for bringing that now. But yeah, not necessarily new updates, but just we did build a proof of concept for this. Pinecone has some things on the API that he's got on our test environment, and I added some things to like the front end on a specific branch to sort of incorporate that as well, and it does work. So the idea is, there's stuff that happens sometimes that aren't initiated by you, so it's harder for you to know that things happened. So the idea is, for example, one of the common use cases would be you have a hero on auction and somebody buys that. And when you log back in, sometimes it's hard to even tell that like that's happened, and then also you don't get any kind of notification when it happens in real time. So we want to kind of approach both of those issues. One, by having the API, which is aware of everything that happens, basically say, hey, when this happens, send a message to anybody who's subscribed to it using like Firebase Cloud messaging, basically. But it, like the end result is when you are in the app, you can basically enable notifications, and that could be on your phone, it could be on your desktop, whatever. And then that will basically subscribe you to everything that you might care about. And then when the auction is like sold, then you'll get a little thing on your phone that will pop up being like, your hero has sold or whatever. And then even if you don't do like notifications, the idea was to have some kind of like a inbox system as well, where in like the game you could see events and things that happen there too. And so this is like useful for things that happen when you're not on, so that like when you come back you can see sort of what has happened since last time. But it's also useful for things that happen that you might be interested in like reviewing later. For example, like hero level up or like quest results or something like that, that like you have the result in a little pop-up, but then sometimes you X out of it too fast, or sometimes the pop-up won't show for some reason or other times, who knows what. But the idea is to store those types of like results in a sort of inbox. And so then you can like go back and review it later and like see some of those details. So I don't know when. It's not super high priority on our list because we've got so many things that are just so impactful that we're working on right now. But it is at least in the proof of concept phase, and so I'm excited about that, and that's sort of where our thoughts currently are for that.
Awesome. Greatly appreciate the insight there, Fox, and yeah, excited for that as well. Let's see, continuing to give Hubert a break for a minute, we're going to flip over to Dreamer. Can Dreamer talk to the Treasury / Runway and dev funding health?
Yeah, so this is an interesting topic since we always have to repeat a few things. So some of it will be a little broken recordy, but for any new company, game, business model, you kind of have stages where you have like sustained by investment stage, you have your path or your conversion through profitability, and then ongoing sustaining growth through the profitability of the product itself. We definitely are still in development stage. I think that's very clear. And part of that development requires various forms of funding. We're currently in the middle of a really awesome deal with Metis that we have been trying to build as fast as we can for y'all. And we're getting close to that. So we are looking forward to Runway. The Runway that we have is really the result of taking variable tokens from the grant at meeting milestones and taking variable income from the game and finding a non-disruptive way to sustain the build of the team. So we can never really give like an ultimate this amount of time because variable tokens have prices that vary. We also are limited in what we can do. We also don't know what tomorrow will bring outside of just straight up looking at prices that are outside of our control. But for now, we are operating in terms of like hours worked and budget based on the grant that we have. We are under NDA in the grant, so we can't go into too much detail, really. I think we've shared as many details as we could. But at the conclusion of this, we're going to be looking at other ways to sustain incremental builds and growth, in addition to adding and filling in a lot of content like classes and other things on the roadmap. So as of today, really, I can't give you a number because that number can go up if we turn down hours. That number could go up if prices move. If that number could go down if prices moves. But if today, or as of today, there has been no turn down, we are continuing to build at the same rate we have for a year. We have been working well with Metis and been active to do our best with what we are receiving and player reward buckets and marketing buckets, and then development. We'll continue to do so. I wish we just had this like stable amount that we could say, here's X amount that won't change, and here's Y amount of burn, and this is the amount of time. It's just not that easy, unfortunately. But currently, there has been no reduction in burn. We have in the past, and we will when we need to, as we look for others. We've been doing this for 3.5 years. It'll ebb and flow in the rate at which we can build and the other opportunities we have. But we're here to build a game, and by all means necessary, we're looking for partners and ways to sustain that, including working with our awesome community and other guilds to bring people in. So I wanted to give a sincere answer, so it's a little long-winded, but it's kind of the same as we've always given. We don't have the luxury of like a traditionally raised VC game to say, this is how much it's in the bank, this is how much we can build for. But I can say and report it's going well so far. Market's pretty crappy. Despite it being crappy, we still haven't turned anything down and are continuing to find ways to sustain and deliver tournaments. We need to be focused on tournaments, getting people in, and trying to move the needle there. That makes it easier for us to look for other opportunities in this like mezzanine stage of funding with investment versus profitability. Goal is to get to profitability, but as we see in the market in general, we definitely need to sustain with investment. So we're hard at work to figure out what that looks like and what the next stages are. So stay tuned.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the background there. All right. Jumping back over to Hubert. Will there be transcendence for cosmetics such as hairstyle, hair color, etc.?
I think when we were talking about this before, maybe I had interpreted that question differently than I interpret it now. So if that is asking if like you would get additional divine essence for cosmetic genes, the answer is no.
That's a good call. I think they meant transcendent level, but yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah, if they meant that, will there be like a transcendent level gene for those things like hairstyle and stuff? The answer is yes. And we've been working towards that kind of as whenever we release new classes, we also release new hair gene, hair color, back appendages, head appendages. And those all work in the same way as classes in terms of like how they can upgrade. So there will be higher level appearances available once we get all of the classes out. But yeah, if that's like specifically about like transcending with the for divine essence and whatnot, no, those cosmetic genes are there for cosmetic purposes. So not planning to further complicate that system to include those.
Nice. Thank you, sir. This is one I'm going to toss to you, but others can add if they want. But do we have plans to have stock visages in the store that are always available?
So I think that does kind of like make the resale market kind of limp, because I think what would just happen is maybe people just undersell on the store. So maybe not, though. Perhaps we could do something where like there's a visage that will come by seasonally or something like that. So it's available sometimes, but not always. That could potentially still let there be a market for it during the times where it's not available. But I guess with that said, once we do have durability in place, we also plan to have there be a way to convert equipment into visages. So in that way, there technically would be kind of an always available set of visages, which would be, the gold shop equipment. You'd be able to convert those into visages if you wanted to. And those would always be available. So I guess technically that will be the case, but in a little bit more roundabout of a way.
Cool. Thank you.
Maybe I'll add
oh,
out to
go ahead.
Bolon if that's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute my problems. My problems unmuting. Yeah, so I mean, when we started doing visages, we got some really good feedback from the community. Shout out to Six Intern, and he really emphasized and represented the view of having the players control the market for visages completely, and it's worked out really well. For those less familiar, visages are cosmetics that we have a limited mint during a period of time, and it's usually an unlimited amount during that time. So if it is less popular initially, less are bought, but then when it closes, then you kind of like start to discover price ongoing. If less are minted up front, then the likelihood of more price fluctuation is higher if they were to come into demand later. And if it's very, very popular up front, then maybe more smooth, given there's more out there. It's a pretty fun approach because every visage you guys control completely in terms of the price and everything. We could do things where instead we like limit quantity instead of limit time, and or have like a bid system or something. We could do things differently. It seems like people are happy with the way things are, but if you have suggestions or questions, please include them on this. We want cosmetics to be fun, and if there are other things that we could try that are maybe interesting from a market perspective or from a rarity perspective, let us know. But just having like unlimited time, unlimited quantity, just anybody can purchase it. It kind of, if we go back to the original argument that came from Styx and many others, it kind of kills what we can be doing with like tradable limited items on blockchain. So although we're open to other ideas, if there are better ones out there that we want to try, I think just the always available option doesn't seem to cater to the goal of bringing cosmetics on the blockchain as much.
Very nice. Let's see, for tournament matches in particular, any consideration to the idea of having a short window after the start time to like announce that they are present in game, and if they miss that window, they're then essentially an automatic forfeit?
Yeah, so I guess especially with tournaments coming out, we do have kind of general plans to like ensure that the tournament can proceed because it is a time-based thing, and we need the next round to start on time. So we're going to be having the shot clock will be enforced whether or not the opponent is enforcing it. We're building a system to allow us to do that. And we also are going to be enforcing like an automated forfeit after the shot clock is violated a certain number of times. I think right now we're thinking 4 is the right number for that, but we could change it based on feedback. And the let's see what else. We also do have plans as well for kind of some sudden death mechanics that will kick in as well if the fight's dragging on too long. To kind of speed along the end of it if it gets to that point. So not exactly what was suggested in that question, but we do have plans to ensure that the fight, proceeds in a timely manner, which I think will also mean that, the pressure is going to be on for the players that are there in the tournament. There's going to be, that shot clock will get you. if you let it run down. So you'll need to think on your toes, and I think we're even like the time on it is going to be a little bit faster than what we have by default in like bouts. So that's another thing we'll want to hear feedback on if it's too short. But I do think we want to kind of create a high pressure situation with tournaments. So I think we're going to be achieving that with all the things we're doing.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited for those new mechanics as well, and I think they'll work well. And as Hubert said, all of it can be adjusted as we see how it works, what the feedback is. This first series of tournaments in particular, it's going to be a lot of data gathering for us, and I'm really excited for that as well, so that we can just keep improving on the tournaments and keep making it run better and better and better. And then also, real quick, before I go to Winston, Renpen, read the Medium article. Just kidding. Go ahead, Winston.
Yeah, I just thought I'd give us y'all a quick update on how this match is going. So it's been pretty even, I think. We both still have all 3 heroes. I think I have a touch more useful mana, and I just had a really, really lucky turn. This, I guess you used to call it Klaytn, it kind of looks like skeletal without the S, I guess. I don't know, Klaytn. Poisoned with like 12%. Self-cleansed it. Just self-cleansed it right off. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Sorry about that. Oh, cool. That's a pretty lucky turn for me. So hopefully we can wrap this one up. Also, just a heads up, the live that I have will probably start a few minutes late because I'll just need to wrap up the sheet. So, yeah. Thanks, Bolon. I'm handing it back over to you. Still hoping to win this one. So I think Klaytn does have a skeletal tail. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's your classic skeletal tail. Good eye, Hubert. Good eye. All right, it's back to you, Bolon.
Nice. No, this has been a really good match. It has been very, very even. There is not a lot of mana left on the battlefield here, so excited to see how this goes. This one may have been a perfect candidate for that environmental damage Hubert was talking about. Let's see. Hubert, I'm going to grab one more question for you. Well, we might have time for a couple more. We're going to see. Anyway, Hubert, one more for you at least. Any thoughts on having, well, there's a couple ideas in here. Having a toggle that would allow for essentially turning the confirm button for attacks off. On that note, any other thoughts of having the damage prediction window move to on skill select rather than on enemy select?
Yeah, having it appear on skill select, I think might not look the best in the UI because it basically need to cover every hero or target that can be targeted. Which, for somewhere you can only target the front, that wouldn't be too bad, but where it's not the case, I think that just, it's a lot of information popping up, and I don't know, I don't think I would like that. But a toggle to just like turn that off so that you just skip confirmation and it just happens. I think something like that is something we could probably do. And I guess for the more veteran players, you may not care as much about seeing that, and are comfortable with potentially misclicking and that just being a consequence of you having that toggled on. So we can talk about how much effort it would be to do something like that and see if that's something we can do and whatnot. I don't dislike that idea.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Jumping over to Fox here for a minute. What stage of development is Divine Essence currently at?
Okay, yeah. Divine Essence. So the smart contract side, which is where we usually start features, is done. We've got that on testnet right now. The implementation side usually comes next. And so what happens is we'll hand off ABI files and addresses and things like that to the front end people. And they'll start creating the interface for it. And also usually during this phase, we'll also hand off anything to the API side as well, in case there's stuff that needs to be indexed there. I think for Divine Essence, the API isn't as much of a thing. So it's mostly going to be front end. And that has started. But there's also a lot going on in the front end world with us being very close to launching some pretty big things. So it's kind of in the queue there in the hopper, I guess. What happens after that is alpha testing starts. And so that will, uncover issues, and then there'll be iteration there on smart contract side and on the front end side, both. And then once that gets to a good state where it gets the thumbs up, then it moves to sort of like the mainnet deployment funnel. And so that's where it's at right now, is just sort of the front end implementation phase.
Awesome. Thank you, Fox. Trying to buy Winston some time to finish this match. Looks like it's getting close one way or another. He's got a couple of low health heroes here. But
Yeah,
for right,
I'm just trying to decide if his gore staff can do 37 HP or not. Mine didn't just now. Mine only did, let's see, where is that at? Is it just right here? Yeah, mine did 33, and I've got, let's see. I think my priest might be a little tougher than his. Let's see. I think I might just go for it here.
I believe.
I don't know. It's going to be close no matter what happens. I think you got to risk it for the thing, right? That's what they say. Oh no, Never mind. All right, get back to it, Bolon. Sorry, get back to it.
A look inside the brain of Winston in real time. Let's see. I'm gonna at least snag one more question. Bouncing back to Dreamer here. Has Ronin been considered as the next realm expansion once time permits?
Who's been bugging my computer? Just joking. I'm not hinting towards anything. No, I think Ronin is pretty cool in the news. They announced that they opened their chain. So for those less familiar, Ronin is the chain that Axie operates on. I think they have had others launch contracts on their chain, but it's been kind of permission based where people would apply, and now anybody can build there. So it's really interesting. If you load up the Ronin Explorer, you'll see they boast a really attractive number of players. I think if the last time I looked, on an average day, they have like 500K or so active wallets on chain. I think they count like a total of 30 million or something, but I'm sure that's over time and maybe not representative of current. And also, I don't think on any day there was more than like maybe 2 or 3 million. But if you look at other chains, and that's a lot of wallets. And the whole point of that chain is gaming. So it's interesting that you asked about that. They're in the news. It makes sense. And they are OGs in the play to earn space. Separately, I guess more directly to answer this question, when we were at YGG Summit, we actually did meet and spend time with Jiho and, founder of Axie and also, very involved with Ronin and everything related to their effort that they have been doing very well for a long time. So of interest, however, a next chain would need to be timed properly. Every time we kind of progress in this space, we learn new things. And one thing that we are really honing in on currently is not only the importance of our chain partners and how credible they are and how interested they are to build their own vision and if our vision aligns with them, but also the community that they have. And for whoever asked this question, you probably know that Ronin has a really good community. I've noticed that their leadership pays a lot of attention to the community. So if somebody asked this question because they want us to consider Ronin, well, we're currently focused on tournaments, and we're nowhere near like a third realm. But there are some things that we could do. We also currently have some other unique options on ways that we can get foot in the door in other chains here and there, and start building those communities. But I would say Ronin pays attention to their players. If you would like their chain to consider collaborating with us and you want to do your part, start hopping in some of their discords and spreading the good word of DeFi Kingdoms and inviting them to join our Discord and just kind of organically befriending people, because if people on Ronin want DFK on Ronin, their leadership listens to their people. We work with folks that are well connected to communities, and there could be something there in the future. Do we currently have like a plan to launch next week on Ronin or anything? No, man, we're focused on tournaments and have a really cool package being going live next week or so, and beyond that as well. So excited about a lot of change out there. One of which we should all be watching is Ronin and how they do when they've opened up, and the players they have, the games they've cultivated in their culture. And we'll be listening to you guys just as they will be listening to theirs. Let's check out some of these chains and see what's good as potential options on what's next. But at the very least, we have networked with them. We know about them. We're doing our research on what's happening in the market, and it does look like a pretty awesome chain. Pros and cons to every chain in terms of cost, block time, and everything else. So it's not perfect. No chain is, but they do have some pretty awesome metrics over there. And
Except
I
DFK.
rooted for them.
DFK chain is perfect.
There you go.
Almost like we built it ourselves. No, thank you, Dreamer, for the insight there. Greatly appreciated. We are going to go into our wrap up. I'm going to kick over to Winston last so that he can share any thoughts from that last match, share the message from the one and only O'Cool, and sign us off. So I will kick it off by saying, as always, thank you everyone who tuned in live. Thank you to everybody who will listen to this later and those that read the transcript. Greatly appreciate all of those that submit questions for us to answer, because we can't have an AMA without questions. You can submit your questions at talk.defykingdoms.com or in the AMA questions channel in Discord. As always, if you've submitted a question we did not get to it, it is just moving up the list, and we will continue working through the list as we do these AMAs every week. Really also want to give a shout out to everybody who takes the time out of their day to come up here and be on stage with us and answer these questions for us. This is always the opportunity to just bombard Hubert back to back with a bunch of questions. So it's always fun for us too. But huge shout out to all of you. Really excited for ETH Denver next week. Really excited for tournaments to kick off next week. It's going to be an amazing time. We are open and looking for feedback on the tournaments themselves as they go. We will be making adjustments as they go, but we also will be putting out a calendar of upcoming tournaments so that people can be prepared. Fantastic. With that, I think I'm done with my last comments. Let's go over, speaking of Hubert, to Hubert for his last comments.
As I've said before, we have put in a ton of work to get tournaments into a completed state. It's been a lot of planning, and also we're at the same time of doing all of that, we are also trying to just expand our presence on Metis by releasing patrols and whatnot. So it's just been a really crazy, very busy past 4 months. But I also just like how that pressure has kind of honed us as a team. I think we've been able to achieve great things, and we have a great path forward. I'm just very excited to see, the community enjoy the fruits of that labor and to see it grow as we have people coming in, to play these tournaments, to spectate these tournaments, to learn about the game, get into it easily through patrols, and, just be with us on this great adventure as we build this game and just keep expanding on it as we go. So, I am very B word, but I'll just wait for that.
Thank you, sir. First, over to Fox.
Cool, thanks. I didn't really talk about it yet, but I did put it in my little subtitle sort of thing. But me and Magnus right now are currently working on upgrading our testnet to Etna, which is great. That means we're going to be an L1 instead of a subnet officially, and we're excited about it. There's been a lot of things we've learned along the way, and Avalanche is also actively supporting it because a lot of the tooling is still being created and sort of built out there. But I did want to just mention that Magnus is amazing, and he's really killing it there as well. And once we have everything hammered out on testnet, mainnet is next. So I'm really stoked about that. It's going to just move us closer and closer to where we want to be in terms of like validators and how we manage the decentralization of the chain. So super stoked about that. And yeah, there's never a boring day here at the projects or in the space in general, but happy to be here, happy to be building with everyone, and happy to have these AMAs with all of you amazing community people. So thank you.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Dreamer, any final thoughts?
I won't say excited. I feel like we all did. We always do. And everybody criticizes us in our vocabulary. I am so amped. I'm amped up for ETH Denver to go to altitude where it's freezing and dark and cold. There's all these people. We'll probably all get COVID and do the hard work of sharing the game with people. People are paying attention one by one. It's pretty awesome. I see some of the people tweeting on either through YGG or the announcement of tournaments or getting caught up with patrols or just haven't paid attention for a while. It's pretty awesome. We're keeping our foot on the gas and we're just focusing on following through, building. I just tweeted, while the world is memeing and rugging and hyping and doing whatever else it does, we're here doing what we said that we would do and meeting you guys each week and doing our best to get your input, report to you, and make this all continue to go. So hopefully with tournaments coming, people can have fun competing and sharing, spectating, speculating, making content. We appreciate you guys. We're doing this for the dream and the vision of DeFi Kingdoms, and that includes all of us. So thank you, and we will see you soon in the Coliseum with some new live competitive action.
Thank you. And last but not least, Winston, for your final thoughts and O'Cool's final thoughts and a sign off.
Yeah, thanks, Bolon. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us today. Excuse me. Got a frog in my throat there. Anyway, little amphibian humor, if you guys care to notice. Probably don't. Probably too subtle. O'Cool said he loves our community and he can't wait for the good times we're going to have soon. And I think he's kind of trying to, speaking of subtle, he's kind of trying to jab that he's not having a good time now, but that's a lie. It's pretty obvious that he is. I'm having a great time. These AMAs are always so fun. It's great to fight somebody and talk a little bit of shit. And that was the really good fight. It was fun to put some terms in there, and it wasn't just who's got the best heroes. It's like, what's the strategy you can cook up this week? So it's kind of like, we're kind of like Saturday Night Live now, but we're doing it with bouts. So it's like, it's Thursday though. I'm gonna have to rethink that whole thing, but you get the idea. Super grateful for you guys in the community, and super grateful for this team that is just rocking hard, and everyone's having so much fun, and yeah. And because of those things, I'm very bullish. I pointed kind of at my name there. Bullish.
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 You.
Bullish.
See you next week.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.